Have you ever wondered why millions of people see Lionel Messi as the greatest footballer of all time? It's not because of the goals, or the trophies, or even the World Cup. It's because his story should have ended long before any of those things happened. There was a time when doctors believed his body might never develop normally. Scouts admired his feet but doubted everything else. Club after club looked at the same boy and reached the same conclusion. Too small, too fragile, not worth the risk. If football had been decided by first impressions, Lionel Messi would have disappeared before the world ever learned his name. But history has a strange habit of rewarding the people who refuse to accept someone else's prediction of their future. This is the story of a boy who spent years trying to prove that the smallest player on the pitch could leave the biggest mark on the game. Long before stadiums echoed his name, Messi was just another child growing up in Rosario, Argentina. Football wasn't a dream he chased. It was simply part of everyday life. He played on dusty streets, uneven fields, and anywhere there was enough space for a ball to roll. While other children eventually grew tired and went home, Messi often stayed outside until someone called him back for dinner. The ball seemed to obey him in ways that surprised even adults. He wasn't the fastest child. He wasn't the strongest either, but he saw spaces nobody else noticed. And by the time defenders reacted, he was already gone. His grandmother Celia noticed something special before anyone else. She encouraged him constantly, taking him to training sessions and proudly watching from the sidelines. Years later, every time Messi pointed both hands toward the sky after scoring, it wasn't a celebration for the cameras. It was a quiet tribute to the woman who believed in him before the world ever did. Life felt simple. Football filled every afternoon, until everything changed inside a doctor's office. At just 11 years old, Messi was diagnosed with growth hormone deficiency, a condition that prevented his body from growing at a normal rate. The treatment existed, but it came at a price his family could barely imagine. Monthly injections were expensive, and they would continue for years. Suddenly, the biggest obstacle in Messi's life wasn't a defender, it was money. His father, Jorge, worked tirelessly to support the family, but the cost of treatment placed enormous pressure on everyone at home. They weren't trying to buy luxury or comfort, they were trying to buy their son's future. Despite the diagnosis, Messi never stopped playing. Every evening, before going to bed, another injection waited for him. While most children worried about school assignments or weekend matches, Messi quietly learned that chasing a dream sometimes begins with enduring pain no one else ever sees. The medicine could help his body grow. It couldn't convince football clubs to believe in him. Local coaches already knew he possessed extraordinary talent, but when bigger clubs evaluated young players, they didn't only see ability, they saw height, strength, physical potential. And Messi didn't fit the image they wanted. Again and again, the same doubts followed him. Not because he lacked skill, because people assumed his body would always hold him back. Most decisions in football happen long before supporters ever hear about them. Behind closed doors, careers are often reduced to numbers, measurements, and opinions. Messi became one of those opinions. An incredible talent, too risky to invest in. For many families, that would have been the end of the story. The dream was becoming more expensive every month, and opportunities were disappearing just as quickly. But thousands of miles away, one club was about to make a decision that would change football forever. In 2000, Messi traveled to Barcelona for a trial. He was still just a teenager, small enough that many people struggled to believe he belonged alongside boys his age. Then the training session began. Within minutes, coaches stopped paying attention to his size. All they could see was the football. The way he carried the ball, the way he slipped through defenders without panic, the way every touch seemed effortless. Talent like that couldn't be taught. Negotiations dragged on. Financial concerns remained. Messi's family couldn't afford to stay in Spain forever without certainty, and returning to Argentina meant risking everything they had sacrificed. For weeks, the future remained uncertain. One signature would decide whether Lionel Messi became another forgotten prodigy, or the player who would redefine an entire generation of football. For years, One story has been told about that moment. Barcelona's sporting director Carles Rexach was so convinced by Messi's talent that, with no official contract available, he wrote a promise to sign the young Argentine on a simple paper napkin. Whether it looked ordinary, didn't matter. For the first time since his diagnosis, someone wasn't focused on what Messi lacked. They believed in what he could become. That decision changed his family's future. At 13, Messi left Argentina with only a few bags, saying goodbye to friends, relatives, and the only home he had ever known. Barcelona offered opportunity. It also demanded sacrifice. He struggled with the language, missed his family, and often felt isolated in a country that didn't yet feel like home. Every night, the growth hormone injections continued. Every morning, he returned to training, determined to justify the faith Barcelona had placed in him. Inside La Masia, coaches quickly realized they weren't developing an ordinary player. Messi wasn't obsessed with impressing people. He was obsessed with improving. If training ended, he stayed longer. If he made a mistake, he repeated the drill until he got it right. Talent had opened the door, but discipline kept him inside. Eventually, he reached Barcelona's first team. The same football world that once questioned his size suddenly couldn't stop him. Defenders were stronger, faster, more experienced. None of it mattered. His low center of gravity, once viewed as a weakness, became his greatest weapon. He slid through challenges that seemed impossible, turning crowded spaces into open ground. Soon, the trophies followed. League titles, Champions Leagues, Ballon d'Or awards, records that few believed anyone would ever break. To supporters, it looked effortless. They never saw the years of discipline behind every touch of the ball. But one criticism never disappeared. He'd never done it for Argentina. No matter what he achieved in club football, his international career remained under constant scrutiny. Then came the 2014 World Cup final. One match stood between Messi and football's greatest prize. Argentina lost. As Germany celebrated, Messi walked past the World Cup trophy without lifting it. The image became one of the defining moments of his career. The heartbreak continued. Argentina lost 2 consecutive Copa America finals in 2015 and 2016. Crushed by disappointment and endless criticism, Messi announced his retirement from international football. For a moment, it seemed the pressure had finally broken him, but stepping away made him realize something. He wasn't playing for headlines. He was playing for Argentina. Weeks later, he returned. Not because the criticism had stopped, because the dream still mattered. That decision led him to one final opportunity. In 2022, at 35 years old, Messi arrived in Qatar knowing this would almost certainly be his last World Cup. Argentina's campaign began with a shocking defeat to Saudi Arabia. Instead of collapsing, the team responded. With every match, their belief grew stronger. So did their captain. Messi didn't carry the team through speeches. He carried them through performances, goals, assists, composure, when everything was on the line. Then came the final against France, a match filled with twists that kept the entire world watching until the final penalty. When Argentina finally won, Messi dropped to his knees. Not because he had become the greatest. That debate had existed for years. He fell because a dream that had survived rejection, illness, homesickness, heartbreak, and relentless pressure had finally become reality. The boy once dismissed for being too small was now standing at the summit of world football. His journey was never about proving critics wrong. It was about refusing to let their opinions define his future. People will always judge what they can see. Your appearance, your background, your circumstances. Very few can recognize potential before it becomes success. Lionel Messi's story reminds us that greatness rarely begins with perfect conditions. Sometimes it begins with uncertainty, sacrifice, and one person willing to believe when almost nobody else does. The world may decide who you are today, but only you decide whether today's limits become tomorrow's reality.